Thanks for joining us in Talking Points. Njimanto Michael, welcome.
Good evening, Babila.
You're a member of the civil society. Yesterday, we all heard the Prime Minister dishing out the plan that the government is putting in place under the instructions of the President of the Republic, Paul Biya, to assist those who have been displaced within the country and those who are now seeking refuge in Nigeria, talking about southern Cameroonians, and also to reconstruct villages and institutions or infrastructures that have been burnt down this far. What's your take on that initiative by the government?
I think we cannot underestimate the initiative, but from my point of view, I think that this initiative is something that was supposed to come perhaps towards the tail end of the attempt to resolve the Anglophone crisis. Because to me, I think the first ever thing that the head of state is supposed to do is to call for a ceasefire.
While waiting for the tail end to bring in this initiative, according to you, what will happen to the Cameroonians who are living in the bushes, those who are living in very deplorable conditions in Nigeria?
Of course, and that is what we are deploying, because you will not go to assist people or perhaps go back to build houses for people when we know that the people who burned the houses are still there, when we know that the state of insecurity is still there. I mean, are you going to build the houses maybe for the terrorists, the people you call terrorists, to come and live in the houses? Or because I know, from what I know, is the people still feel insecure, they rather feel secure in their refugee camps. And I don't think that you rehabilitate people and then you ask them to come back when actually they know that they are insecure to come back home. So, I mean, it's a deplorable state that, except that the money that is gathered maybe is just to give them maybe to, but if they actually the plan, from what I read, according to the plan, I think that this is money being wasted. Until a ceasefire is called up, then I think that money is being wasted.
Government cannot disperse such a huge amount of money, more than 12 billion francs CFA, and the collection, the fundraising started today in the nation's political capital, and the various officials, government officials, and even officials of private enterprises have been asked to contribute given amounts of money, given amounts of money.
Babila, if your history knowledge is right, and you reminiscence of the World Cup in 1994 in the USA, do you remember the kind of collection that was made in 1994, and that money is still between France and the United States of America? Do you know that all public, individuals, parastatals, and people gathered money for the Indomitable Lions, and up to today we are still asking for the accountability of that money? So we want to see this to be the same thing, because if this money is, as the head of state announced, and if there is no well marked up plan for the money to be used, then it is going to end up in the hands of and of course, can you imagine the person who is chairing that commission to take, the person that, Anglophones are feeling like it was not the right person who was supposed to be appointed as a minister of
You're talking about
Atangaji, of course. So there are a lot of issues, intrigues in the whole issue about the collection, and people are having a premonition that this is going to be another affair of 1994, whereby this money is going to go missing without not really attend Israel. Imagine people we just heard a report where people are not able to travel from Douala to Kumba because of insecurity. How is the emergency plan? How are they going to rehabilitate people? Those who are going to leave the Yaoundé are going to go by air? We are asking that things be done. You don't put the cart before the horse. We are asking that things should go in chronologically and according to order. The head of state should call a ceasefire, and when it is a ceasefire, and then these people will feel secure to come back, and then they will be able to identify the people, and then the issue of construction of houses will come in, the issue of school. How would the people go back to school when they are still feeling insecure?
But several members of the civil society, like you, have been crying out loud and condemning the fact that some of the citizens of this country are in Nigeria suffering, some of them dying, and some living in the bushes with pregnant women, some who are giving birth in very difficult conditions. They're lacking what to eat, lacking shelter, and the government has said nothing. And now the government has said something.
Yes, because now the issue is, I know we have cried out, but the issue is, why are the people in Nigeria? That is the first question we have to answer. The people are in Nigeria because of insecurity. I mean, okay, we are saying that if we are accepting that you're going to give them food to eat and then stay back in the refugee camp, it is fine. This initiative was not even started by the Cameroon government. It was started by, a United Nations Refugee and Commission. And I think that the government is only coming behind because we have cried foul. Of course, these people need food. Yes, but our problem is the sum of money that has been allocated. 2.7 billion is a huge sum of money, and
the person in charge of managing the money.
And the person in charge of managing the money, I'm telling Babila, we are having a premonition that this is just another farce. You know,
are you saying that Southern Cameroonians have lost confidence in people like Atanganji Paul, the Minister of Territorial Administration, and even the Prime Minister Philemon Yang?
Of course, I think that it is nothing. It is no story, new story again. That to know that Mr. Atanganji, he himself, he is insecure going to the Southwest and Northwest region. That is clear. And I'm asking myself how he is going to take up this team to go to the Southwest and be able to supervise what is happening. So we realize that, you know, people cry foul, and they said these are individuals that the people actually do not welcome. And it's like a sort of a provocation that the head of state takes only the people who are hated by the people in the Northwest and Southwest to appoint them to certain strategies. And are we really honest? If we are really talking about dialogue and whatever to solve the Anglophone issue, are we honest, or we are just provoking people the more? That is a question that we are asking, and therefore we have to examine our consciences and see. Those are the fundraising started today. As from now, about 60 million has already been raised. But we are afraid whether these people are just going there to show off what they have in their pocket and be able to demonstrate to the world that they have money to. What is the end of that money that is going to be collected is our worry.
And talking about the initiative itself, you earlier indicated that there's something that should have been done before bringing in such a project. Are you saying that it is not timely, or is a misplaced priority?
It's a misplaced priority for a time. This money is going to be useful, but not now. And what we are saying is that you realize that the 30th of September, the head of state declared war against the secessionists. And of course, it is only the head of state. He has a prerogative. He has a magic card. He is only the one who is going to declare a ceasefire. I know when the ceasefire, on in a war, when one party declares a ceasefire, the other party has a responsibility to respect the ceasefire. And that's what we have been expecting. That the head of state who declared war on the 30th of September 2016 should also be able to come out, because he himself, everything is around the head of state. He should stand up and say, okay, he has declared a ceasefire. What are we going to do? What solution are we going? What form of dialogue are we going to take? Because we have two solutions at hand now concerning Anglophone crisis, and I have always been proposing in other media. And I said, the first one is war, and the second one is dialogue. If we do not want war, then let's just prepare for dialogue. Of course, no Cameroonian will want war, and therefore dialogue. But what form of dialogue? When we start by, taking something that was supposed to be done at the end, this 12 billion was supposed to be for appeasement. To let, when places are calm, and then we call people together and then try to restitute them, give them what they have lost, build their houses, ensure their security. But when we are disbursing that money now, it is going to go to, are we going to send the money to Nigeria, or is it the Nigerian government that is going to take care of these people, or the Cameroonian government? So I think there is a whole lot of confusion about this announcement. It doesn't make anybody happy in any way, because we do not know about the end of how this is going to actually be.
And the execution of this initiative puts the people who will be executing at risk as the crisis continues deepening, and they will be moving into those areas where the separatist fighters are operating.
Oh, of course.
To carry on the project.
You now see that it is going to be a terrible thing whereby the person, the chairperson or the committee that is in charge of actually using this money is going to ask for security in order to go to the Northwest and Southwest region, in order to be able to execute what this money is meant for. It is not going to be honest that you find somebody who is coming for peace and who has been sent, carrying a lot of security around them, which of course you know that the issue of security, the issue of military in the North and South is already causing a lot of problems. One of the cries of the civil society has always been that they should demilitarize the Northwest and the Southwest. And can you imagine someone who is coming for a rescue mission and coming with a huge battalion or a huge security enforcement behind him? That is going to scare people. And that is why we are saying that for dialogue to be, people need to be in a calm environment and feel secured. If not, you are only going to scare the people the more. And that is why we are asking that, we should be frank about what is happening in Cameroon today.
And earlier today, somebody asked me the question, is government going to reconstruct the villages that have been burnt down like Kwakwa and go and compel or pull the Cameroonians who are in the bushes and those who are in Nigeria by force to come back to their house?
That is a question. I just said earlier that we risk constructing these villages which are going to be the hideout of even the terrorists themselves. Because how do you construct villages when people will not come to live in? And who is going to live in these villages? So the best thing to do is convince these people that they are secured. Because you build villages and then you leave them. Are you going to pull, what means are you going to pull the people from Nigeria to come? The only means that you're going to pull them to is when they are sure that we are coming back and they are not going to be tortured as they have been tortured.
Another issue raising eyebrows is the fact that many government officials, including the Minister of Communication, and just yesterday the Prime Minister himself referred to the separatist fighters as terrorists.
And of course, and that's why we have been decrying Babila. We have said these people are not terrorists. We should rather give them a different name, separatists. And it is true because they have their revendication which the government knows about. Let us come back to the start of this crisis whereby people started using slang. They say what can 2 cubes of sugar do in a basin of water? And another one is telling others, you are the one who decided to join us. And so those are words that only go to provoke the thing the more. Do not call them separatists, terrorists. Call them separatists. And then when you call them separatists, they have a sense of belonging, because no meaningful dialogue would take place if these people you call terrorists do not sit on a round table to dialogue.
Dimancho Michael, member of the civil society, thanks so much for accepting to join us in this edition of the news.